Good afternoon. It's Christine Trainor talking to you live from New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada. It's 4:07 in the afternoon here in New Westminster, BC. Sorry, I'm a little late here. Sorry, I was out for a brisk walk and just enjoying the day. It's Monday, July 1st, and as you can see, since I'm in red and I'm Canadian, today is our Canada Day here up in Canada. And I wanted to talk about that today. I know it's kind of an unusual thing, but I was looking at Google and what was the definition of Canadian, which I kind of liked it. You know, it was not necessarily one thing or the other, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to read a couple of things what Google is saying about being Canadian, and then we're going to talk about it because this is just something I want to talk about today because it is July 1st, and I am a loving Canadian, but basically I'm a lover of all nationalities as well as a Canadian citizen of the world. But here, I want to say this is the first one I thought was interesting. So what does it mean to be Canadian today? Oh no. How about this? What does it mean to be Canadian? There are so many different communities that make up Canada. Every Canadian comes from a different cultural background. True, right? This phenomenon, sorry, that's just my phone. This phenomenon helps when you're a new immigrant. Being Canadian means you appreciate everything you have. That's a nice way of putting it. Here's one here. It says more results. Oh, here's good. Canada Day. What does it mean to be Canadian? To be friendly definitely means the stereotype. I've never met any more polite country in my life. Well, we always say thank you and I'm sorry, and we talk like that. Right? Canada is more multicultural than China. There are so many different communities that make up Canada. Every Canadian comes from a different cultural background. This phenomenon helps when you're a new immigrant. Oh, I already read that, didn't I? Equality, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. When I think of the world, those are things that come to mind when I think of Canada. To be Canadian is to feel compassionate for others. When I think about being Canadian, I think about being from the best country in the world, as one person said. It's somewhere that accepts you and respects human rights, things more people should value. Our country is so big and we have so many people living here, and I'm proud of that. Being Canadian means privilege and opportunity. Being Canadian means you appreciate everything you have. We travel a lot and know how lucky we are. That's a good little short synopsis of it. And here's another version of it. Trying to see who is a Canadian. In general, a person is a Canadian citizen. They were born in Canada. Note, a child born in Canada to an accredited foreign diplomat is not Canadian at birth unless other parents is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident at the time of the child. So basically, I am Canadian because I was born in Canada. But that we have such a beautiful, diverse amount of Canadian citizens is wonderful. Who is a Canadian citizen? Here's something interesting here. There's some information here when it says they became a citizen through a naturalization process in Canada. That's what a Canadian citizen is. If somebody who comes to Canada to live from another country, lives here for a few years, applies to become Canadian, and they become Canadian citizens. So they are a citizen of this country. So that's a short little version I'm talking about Canada. Canada Day, what does it mean? I already read that one. What does it take to be a true Canadian? That's something interesting. Let's read that one. I'm just reading some stuff that's interesting. What does it take to be a true Canadian? This was done a couple of years ago, but it says, who is a true Canadian? For the majority of respondents in a new survey, it's somebody who's not only speaks English or French, but also shares Canadian customs and traditions. A marker that Canadians prioritize more than ever the Australians, French, or Americans. With an eye on nationalist movements and rising anti-immigrant sentiments, the PEW Research Center conducted a survey of more than 14,500 people in 14 countries to investigate a global perspective on a thorny idea: what does it take to be one of us? In a report released Wednesday, actually it was a couple of years ago, but this is an interesting article. PEW researchers found language was the most critical factor for how people define a true member of the nation, with the Netherlands, Hungary, and United Kingdom placed the highest premium on speaking the native tongue. Canadians and Italians were the least likely. Sorry, that motorcycle outside. Live, eh? I'm trying to record the camera, guys. I'm learning. Canadians and Italians were the least likely to link language with national identity, though nearly 9 in 10 Canadians, both Anglophone and Francophone, still feel speaking French or English was very or somewhat important, despite the fact that 20.6% of Canadians did not consider either to be their mother tongue, according to the 2011 census. So in Canada, 54% of 1,020 respondents also placed a high premium on shared customs and traditions when defining the Canadian identity. Only Hungary, Greece, and Poland showing larger portions of people who prioritize shared culture, something that jumped out from Bruce Stokes, the author of the report. And it says here, for whatever it means, Canadians seem to value customs and traditions more than ever, more than, one more time. For whatever it means, Canadians seem to value customs and traditions more than even people in the U.S. or in many other European countries, said Stokes, Director of Global Economics Attitude with the PEW Research Center, a nonpartisan think tank based in Washington, D.C. And while the majority says the ability to speak French or English is important, relatively speaking, it's not that important to Canadians compared to even Australians or people in the U.S. Like all polls, this one has important limitations, including the fact the nebulous phrase of national customs and traditions was not defined and left for individual respondents to interpret. Canadians in the Yukon, Nunavut, and Northwest Territories were also excluded from the Canadian survey, which was conducted in April and May 2016 and had a margin of error of 3.9% points at a 95% confidence level. Nevertheless, PEW arrives at a time when pitch debates over national identity are shaping political battles around the world, fueling nationalist movement in Europe and the rise of President Trump in the United States. Then it says in Canada, federal Conservative Party leader Kelly. Anyways, it just says a variety of interesting things. I thought that was kind of cool, guys. This is a quick little idea of what they consider to be kind of like a Canadian. I think a Canadian is a person who is basically from a diverse background and enjoys quality of life within Canada, working with each other, enjoying other's company, respecting each other as who we are. And that's what I think a true Canadian is. I don't think there's any real identity of a Canadian because we are a very nationally diverse society right now where we have so many beautiful cultures that live here in Canada. I don't believe a true Canadian, there is such thing as a really true Canadian, because you can say a person is polite, says sorry, thank you, or you can see somebody who's very kind. There's a lot of people around the world who are kind. I consider myself more of a Canadian, of a citizen of the world, because we have such a beautiful multicultural society here in Canada. You see, over 23 years ago when I got together with my sweet Masood, he is from Iran, so I became part of the Iranian culture more now than anything else, and I understand what they're all about. So that's a beautiful culture in itself, the Iranian people. So I don't consider there's any which way to that's why I read some of these, because it basically says we are a country of diverse and multicultural society now, with so many different people from variety from around the world who come to live in Canada and become Canadian citizens and live and grow and evolve here and do whatever they can to live and to be happy in this beautiful society we are here in Canada. And I do not believe that there is one true definition of Canadian, because I think we're all beautiful people on this beautiful earth and we're all citizens of the world. That's kind of what I'm thinking, guys. But I want to talk about this today because, as you can see, I do love being Canadian because I was born and raised here. But my sweet Masood is Canadian citizen, but I consider him Canadian because he loves the Canadian way of life as well here. He loves living here and growing here and enjoying here, and he's happy here in Canada. And he came here at a time in his life where he was escaping from a lot of terrible things going on in the Middle East. So he's proud to be Canadian, Masood. Yeah, he's proud to be a Canadian citizen. So, and we have a Canadian citizen here too, our little kitty cat. And today's another special day because my little kitty cat Etta turned 1 year old. I don't know where she is. Oh, she's underneath the table. Could you bring her for a minute, Miss Sue? Just bring her for a minute. Because I know she doesn't want to be bothered. She's chilling under the table, but just bring her here for a minute, Miss Sue. I just want to show. You just bring her. She'll be fine. Come here, baby. Just go get her and bring her to me, Miss Sue. Just go get her. Okay, I guess I'd have to get off here and go over and get her, but come on, baby. Come here. Give me a second, guys, okay? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. We want to say happy birthday to our little girl. Oh, she's being a poopy. I don't want to ruin my shirt here. This is our Miss Etta. She's now 1 year old. See? July 1st, 2018, she was born, and now July 1st, 2019, she is 1 year old today. She's a happy 1 year old baby girl. She's a part of our life, which we love. 6 months ago, when she came into her life, she's been a true joy. And now she's actually originally a rescue cat from the States, so she's basically a Canadian citizen too now. Been here for quite a long time. And I consider her Canadian, yes. Oh, off you go, girl. Let her do her. Oops, sorry. Don't want to see that. That's kind of a whoopsie. Whoopsie. So I just wanted to say that today because sorry guys, sometimes when you're a little bit sticky, things don't sit properly, especially with the material. But that's okay. That's just the way it is today. It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day here on July 1st. Beautiful, lovely Canada Day up here in Canada, as you know, because I always say Christine Trainor from U.S. Based Service in Canada. And I want to just talk about that because I truly believe a true Canadian is not anything really, because people might say, well, if you're a true Canadian, then you're Aboriginal. No. There's no such thing as a true Canadian. Beautiful citizen of this country. Whether you're born and raised here, whether you came here from another country, you're a Canadian regardless, because you came to this country to live and to grow and to prosper and to have a life here. That's the Canadian. That's the Canadian West every way. But since I've been born and raised in Canada, I've been here because I'm 59. That's my interpretation of Canadian, not necessarily the old traditional ways. I mean, we are very polite people. We always say sorry. Or we say but that's what I wanted to talk about today. There's no such thing as a true Canadian. We are Canadian regardless when we live here in Canada. As soon as you step on the ground of Canada, you become a Canadian citizen regardless, because you started to live and grow and prosper in this country. That's what I call a Canadian, because you're living here and you're enjoying all the beautiful, diverse cultures that are here. And also, you are a citizen of the world. So it's kind of a double thing. And I consider myself a citizen of the world because I am a part of this beautiful world we live in. And Canada is one of it. So basically, what I say, as I think, I am a citizen of this world who was born and raised in Canada and enjoy a beautiful relationship with all the lovely people that I've met through my lifetime that are multicultural. Okay, guys, that's what I wanted. That was my little theme for my everyday journey today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to carry on and enjoy my Canada Day with my sweetie and my sweet kitty. And you have a good day. But give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. I really love talking about stuff. You know me, I'm an old gabber. Make today a great day in everyday journey, because you can make this day a great day. Only you can. My love to you all. Bye. Oh dear, I have a frozen mouse. Give me a second. My love to you all. Bye.